Hello everyone, I'm Dina Zayed, a chemistry teacher from Abhishek coaching from Egypt. Today we have a new topic which is about the changing in states, where we are going to talk about physical and chemical changes. Let's share this with you and see. Okay, we have two changes in states. It's either physical or chemical. So we are going to know what are the difference between them. First, the physical change. Let's see this video to know more about it.
No matter where you are or what you are doing, things are changing all around you. Whether it's plants growing or logs burning, or even if you're just eating food, the materials around you are changing in size, shape, and structure, releasing or absorbing energy, and creating new substances. In chemistry, most changes are divided into two categories: physical changes and chemical changes. A physical change is something that changes the physical properties of an object or substance, like size, shape, or form. Cutting a piece of cloth is an example of a physical change. Even though the cloth changes shape and size when it is cut, it does not create a new substance. It's still cloth. Even if the pieces of cloth are sewn together and made into a shirt, only physical changes have occurred. The shirt is still made of the same substance as the original cloth, just in a new form. Another type of physical change involves changing states of matter, and water is a great example of this. Ice melts and becomes water, and water evaporates to become steam. But no matter its form, the water is still water. The way we can tell this is a physical change is that the change can be undone. Water vapor can condense back into liquid water, and liquid water can be frozen back into ice without changing to a different substance. In fact, many physical changes can be undone. For example, we know that dissolving sugar into water is a physical change, because even though the sugar and the water are mixed together, they do not combine and create a new substance. They are still just sugar and water, and they can be separated from each other. Not all mixtures are as simple to separate as sugar and water. When you mix butter, sugar, flour, and eggs, there is not a practical way to separate them again, but it is still only a physical change. The chemical change occurs when you put your mixture in the oven and add heat. Baking has many of the indications of a chemical change. The mixture in the oven absorbs heat. It also changes color and produces an odor. Gases are released, which is what helps the baked goods to rise. Finally, this change cannot be undone. You can't unbake a cake. Chemical changes occur when the particles of two or more substances are rearranged to form a new substance. For example, when you burn wood, the wood is transformed into a new substance: ash. Just like in baking, this change cannot be undone. Also like the cookies, the wood changes color, releases gases, smoke, and produces an odor. Unlike in baking, this chemical change releases heat and gives off light. Chemical changes take place all around us. Metal rusting, fireworks exploding, fruit ripening, and digesting food are all examples of chemical changes. Here are some clues to look at if you're not sure whether something is a chemical or physical change. Chemical changes always form a new substance. They may absorb or release heat. Sometimes a chemical change will cause a change in color, produce an odor, create a sound, release gases, or produce light. Chemical changes usually cannot be undone. Physical changes do not form a new substance. A physical change may change the shape or size of an object. It may change the state of a substance's matter. Many physical changes can be undone in some way. In a physical change, you end up with the same substance you started with, even if it looks different. I hope you enjoyed learning about physical and chemical changes today.
Okay, so as we saw here, we are talking about physical and chemical changes, and then we will share the screen to know more about it.
Around and see.
First, we are going to talk about the chemical changes. As we see in the video, the chemical change is called a chemical reaction. So there is a reaction done to make this chemical change. When the chemical change happens, a new substance is formed, a new substance which is really different, almost different from the previous one. And this change is irreversible, so you cannot go back to it. Here we have an energy given out or taken in during the reaction, but no change in the mass. As we start with 4 kilograms, we will end with the 4 kilograms. We have some example of the chemical reactions or the chemical change: combustion, rust, digestion, photosynthesis, baking, washing, batteries, fermentation. All of these we are using them in everyday life, and this is a chemical reaction or a chemical change. But the physical change is the opposite of it. Here the change takes place when the substance changes its state, which means that we can change by heating or cooling, from ice to water or from water to ice, by melting or freezing. Also, dissolving is a physical change. The physical change here, we are not changing the structure of the substance. We are changing only the size, the shape, the appearance, like cutting a paper. We are not changing the paper itself. We are just making it smaller pieces. Here no new substance is formed, and the change is reversible, which means that we can change some physical changes, like water and ice. We can change the water to ice by freezing, and then by melting we can change it back. So this means that this change is reversible. And here also no change in the mass. The mass keeps the same as we start with it and as we end with it. Some of the physical changes that we have, like breaking the glass, mixing candies, cutting the hair, drying ice, boiling, melting, all of these are examples of physical change. Okay, but here we have two things. Let's see this. The cooking of the eggs. Cooking of the eggs. If you cook the egg, it will change in its structure. You cannot make it reversible an egg again. So this is what physical or chemical change. This is a chemical change. Okay, lighting a match. You can light the match. So you have here lighting the match. This is a physical change. Okay, boiling water. When you boil the water, this is physical change. Baking a cake. When you bake a cake, this is a chemical change, because you cannot bring it back. Cutting paper, as we said, cutting the paper is a physical change. Melting of ice is also a physical change. So, cooking an egg is a chemical, lighting a match is a chemical, boiling water physical, baking an egg is chemical, cutting paper is physical, and melting ice is physical. Okay? I hope that you enjoyed the lesson and you understand the difference between physical and chemical changes. I hope that you can see from around you what's the difference between the physical and the chemical changes. If you have more examples, you can send them to me to tell you if it is a physical or a chemical change. Thank you so much and hope that I will see you again in another topic. Bye bye.